How do you say become in Spanish? In this video series, How to Say in Spanish, we look at those common English expressions which can be difficult to translate to Spanish, and we find the most natural way to say them in Spanish. It's for intermediate to advanced Spanish learners, although if you're a beginner, you'll still find it useful. I'm Rob from Spanish Obsessed, and as always, Liz will help us out.
Buenas!
In this video, we're going to look at 4 ways to say become in Spanish, which was actually requested in a previous comment from one of our previous videos, and is actually something which I've always struggled to say in Spanish as well. So this should be a helpful video for you. These aren't all of the possible ways to say become, but you'll find that between these you can cover pretty much everything that you need to. So let's jump in. The first way of saying become in Spanish that we're going to look at is
Convertirse en.
Now, this is the sense of becoming, like to convert oneself. And that implies a big change, so becoming something else completely.
Después de ganar la lotería, se convirtió en una mujer muy rica.
After winning the lottery, she became a very rich woman, or she converted into a very rich woman. And with convertirse, don't forget that it's reflexive, so that's se convirtió. And also, you can't miss out the en. Se convirtió en. Finally, remember that it's followed by a noun rather than the adjective. All of the other translations that we're going to be looking at are followed by the adjective, but this one, convertirse en, is followed by a noun. Something becomes something else. Now, let's take a look at the next one.
Ponerse.
This means a temporary change, so it's often used with illnesses and other temporary changes like that. And the way that I remember this is to think to put yourself. That's the literal translation. When you put something or yourself somewhere, then you can move it afterwards. So it's temporary. Well, that's at least how I remembered it.
Se puso muy enfermo después de tomar toda la botella.
He got or became very ill after drinking the whole bottle. Ponerse is followed by the adjective. So in this case, that's enfermo, meaning ill. Let's look at the next way to say become.
Quedarse.
Quedarse literally means to stay. And that's something that's helpful to bear in mind here. It means become with a more permanent sense, as in stay.
Te quedarás ciego si miras el sol.
You'll become blind if you look at the sun. Here, becoming blind is unfortunately the permanent change. Maybe I should have chosen a different example. And let's take our final way of saying become.
Hacerse.
Hacerse is used in the sense of doing something to oneself. So, for example,
Se hizo muy famoso.
he became very famous. Now, this implies that he made himself very famous, or that he was responsible for his own fame. And again, notice that this is followed by the adjective and it's a reflexive verb. Se hizo muy famoso. In summary then, convertirse en plus noun is used for when something changes to something completely different. Think of converting. Ponerse plus adjective, that's used for temporary changes. Quedarse plus adjective, think of to stay, that's used for permanent changes. And hacerse plus adjective, that's used for when someone is responsible for that change. If you found this video useful, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also leave a comment. What do you find tricky to say in Spanish that we could help you out with? And head over to SpanishObsessed.com to check out our range of podcasts, courses, and live classes for all levels of Spanish. Hasta la próxima.